Hi guys, so today we're going to be doing a video on how to develop your own drawing style. The tablet I'm using in this video is the Star 03 tablet by XPPen, and the drawing software in the background is Paint Tool Sign, my personal favourite drawing software. When it came to developing my own art style, it took a very long time for me to realise that I shouldn't be trying to draw like other people. I had so many artistic inspirations from various anime series and various independent artists that I didn't really know the direction I wanted to go, and all of their art styles didn't work together. They were completely different ends of the spectrum, so trying to combine them all into one piece of artwork just didn't work out for me, and it ended up stunting my drawing development. However, when I decided to just take a step back and stop trying to draw like everyone else, I realised that actually I had my own ideas and my own style to actually let loose. So what do I think is the quickest and easiest way of developing your own art style? Well, although I do think legwork and a little bit of trial and error is super important, I do think that the best way to start is picking an inspiration. One that you can take ideas from, but one that you don't directly copy. So for me, it was stuff like Invader Zim and Panty and Stocking. It was very cartoony, but it also had an element of anime and manga in it, and that's what made me like it so much. I like the dark sci-fi themes of it as well, and also the sexualization in Panty and Stocking. Those are my two main inspirations and sources that I can lead my artwork back to. So when you have an artwork or art style that you want to develop, I definitely recommend seeing what you enjoy and what you like about certain series or certain styles, and try to incorporate it into your own artwork, because eventually you'll find that your hand will start doing stuff that you didn't expect it to, and you'll eventually have your own art style starting to bloom. Another thing is the importance of learning the human body and proportions. Something that I once got told is that you need to study the human body more before you can develop a proper art style, and that's something that I actually kept with me and decided to do before I actually decided to invent my characters. Now, this is something that is really just important to just do in the background, whether you do it once a day, whether you do it once a week. Just looking at the human body, learning how to do proportions, learning how to do your heads, your arms, your legs, your hands, all of this stuff will eventually really help you develop your own art style. My characters barely resemble a human body, however I've looked into the human body before designing them, and this did help me actually get some consistency when it came to designing my characters every time I drew them. And this is something I highly recommend and will hopefully be able to touch on in later videos, so you guys can have a look and develop your human bodies. When you first start to draw digitally, I also recommend not buying the most expensive thing you can afford. And the reason I say this is because there's genuinely no need to buy something so expensive when you're first starting to try out. I originally bought the Wacom Bamboo for £65 when I first started to draw digitally, and I found that actually my artwork was no better than when drawing by hand. In fact, my artwork was worse because I hadn't adjusted to the surface I was working on, and it took me about a good couple of weeks to really adjust to drawing on a tablet, and by that point I'd worn down about 2 nibs very quickly. The tablet I'm using, which is a Star 03, runs at around £45 and has about 10 nibs to use. I recommend using this over the Wacom Bamboo personally, purely because from my own experience you've got a wider surface area to use, and actually the nibs last a hell of a lot longer. Especially if you're starting to draw, you don't want to end up using all your nibs up on artwork that's less than impressive. Another tip for developing your own art style is to get into an environment where you feel most comfortable. Whether you be wearing headphones or listening to speakers, to your favourite musical tunes or even audiobooks, or if you like being in a room that's dead silent, I recommend getting into an environment that inspires you, and I do think that really does make a difference. I always find that I draw my best when I'm actually listening to music that really gets me pumped up. If I'm sitting in a silent room, I never seem to do anything that's worthwhile doing, and unfortunately that's just the case with me. So whenever I do, I normally listen to something like Boom Boom Satellites or Vocaloid or a whole bunch of other bands whilst I'm drawing. The one really important thing to remember out of all of this as well is that you're constantly improving. Even if you hit a wall, which is inevitable, I mean I've hit many walls when I've come to developing my own art style, you will eventually look back and see how much you've improved. Even looking at my artwork last year, I can definitely tell I've improved, and that's something that gives me a lot more confidence. So give confidence to yourself by looking at the old artwork you've done and compare it to the new one, because I can guarantee you will see a difference, and eventually you'll become the artist that you want to be. Don't feel stressed, don't let people put you down, and don't don't compare yourself to others, because as much as you want to, we all have different styles and different abilities, and what you should do is just be happy with your improvement and where you want to be. And as silly and corny as it may sound, I do think that's really the best outlook you can always have on it. As long as you stay positive, your art style will eventually bloom into something that you're proud of and something that you can hopefully do as a career or do as a hobby. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I do plan to do some proper drawing videos about how to draw bodies and proportions very, very soon, but I thought this would be a good introductory one, because something that a lot of people like to talk about is their own art styles, and something that a lot of people are unconfident about asking for. So this is my own personal opinions on what you should do for your art style and when you first start drawing, and I hope that it's been helpful to all of you.